Welcome back to So You Really Want to Learn Latin, and today we're going to look at a couple of nouns in the second declension which behave in a slightly peculiar way. The nouns we're going to look at are puer, which means a boy, and magister, which means a master. Now, the first thing to notice about these nouns, and nouns that go like them, is that in the nominative singular they end in er, not us. So we've learned annus, and we know it goes annus, anne, annum, anni, anno, anno, anni, anni, annos, annorum, annis, annis. Okay, so those are second declension endings, normally associated with masculine nouns of the second declension. Well, puer, which means a boy, and we get the word puerile from it, goes exactly like annus, except that in the nominative singular it isn't puerus, it's just puer. And it's a short u, puer. Quite hard to say properly, puer. Okay, so it goes puer, puer, puerum, pueri, puero, puero, and then you can see it's just going normally now. Pueri, pueri, pueros, puerorum, pueris, pueris. Okay? Nothing too hard about it except those nominative and vocative singular endings end in er. Now, not very many nouns go like puer. The trouble with it is it's quite a common word, so you'll come across it a lot. Another type of nouns which also end in er go like magister. Now, what happens here is a little bit peculiar, but you should probably work out what's going on. So magister goes magister, magister, magistrum, magistri, magistro, magistro, magistri, magistri, magistros, magistrorum, magistris, magistris. Now, you will remember I'm not very good at rolling my R's, but what has happened is that after magister, magister, the nominative and vocative singular, instead of going magisterum, it drops that E. And the stem of nouns like magister sort of squishes a bit, the E drops out, and you just get magistr, M-A-G-I-S-T-R, that's the stem, and then onto that you add your normal second declension endings, e-o-o, e-e-os, orum, is. Okay, so words that go like magister, there are quite a lot. Ager, which means a field. Okay, ager, ager, agrum, agree, agro, agro. Agree, agree, agros, agrorum, agris, agris. Liber, which means a book. Liber, liber, librum. Libri, libro, libro. Libri, libri, libros, librorum, libris, libris. Okay, now, if you come across a noun that ends in er, in the nominative singular, you need to know, does it go like puer or does it go like magister? And there is a nice easy way of telling, and that is to look at the genitive singular of the noun. Now when you see it written in a vocabulary list, you will always get the nominative, then the genitive singular, the gender, and the meaning. So for example, ager, you would see ager, agree, masculine, a field. And that genitive singular, agree, tells you that it's going like magister because the E has fallen out. It's gone ager, agree, squished. The E has dropped out and you've just got that little stem of AGR. Okay, so just remember, to get the stem of a second declension noun, you go to its genitive singular and you chop off the I, and then that is the stem onto which you add your second declension endings. Okay, So nothing too difficult. I mean, if you were to see it in a sentence, in any case other than the nominative and vocative, you might not even notice. But of course, we want to do things properly. And so when you see librum or libros or libris, you've got to know, well, where did it come from? What is that noun? Where would I look it up in a dictionary? And you wouldn't be looking up librus, you'd be looking up liber. Okay? Obviously, we get the word library from liber. We can, however, move swiftly on to another very closely related topic, which is, now that we've learned adjectives that go like bonus, and you'll remember they take their endings from annus in the masculine, mensa in the feminine, and bellum in the neuter. Well, there is a type of adjective that ends in er. Indeed, there are two types. Okay. Now, some are kind of copying the way puer works, keeping the e in its stem, puer, pueri, and some behave more like magister, magister, magistri. Now, the two types of adjective we're going to learn are tener, which means tender, and pulcher, which means beautiful. Tener, if you were to see it in a dictionary or a vocabulary list, would be laid out tener, tenera, tenerum equals tender. Now what that means, looking across the three genders, tener, tenera, tenerum, you can tell that it hasn't dropped its e. So it is going to be behaving like puer. So in the masculine, for example, it'll be going tener, tener, tenerum, teneri, tenero, tenero, and so on. Pulcher, however, if you saw that in a dictionary or a vocabulary list, would say pulcher, pulcra, pulcrum equals beautiful. So you can instantly see, I hope, that the e has dropped out when it moved from pulcher in the masculine to pulcra in the feminine. Okay, so that is behaving like magister. The masculine would go pulcher, pulcher, pulcrum, pulcri, pulcro, pulcro, and in the plural, pulcri, pulcri, pulcros, pulcrorum, pulcris, pulcris. And in the feminine it would be going pulcra, pulcra, pulcram, pulcri, pulcri, pulcra, and so on. Okay, so nice short lesson today. Nouns and adjectives of the second declension that end in er in the nominative. Nouns that go like puer, nouns that go like magister, which drop their e. Adjectives which go like tener, tenera, tenerum, keeping the e. And finally, adjectives that go like pulcher, pulcra, pulcrum, which lose the e. Okay? Now, there's lots of practice in the book using these new nouns and adjectives. As I hope I've explained, they're not really very difficult. They're just a bit peculiar. Well, they're only peculiar in the nominative and vocative, actually. After that, they're not peculiar at all. But good to have another thing under your belt. Right, next time we're going to move on to the third conjugation of verbs. That's verbs like rego. Now, you'll hear me say it again and again, but I'll say it now just to warn you. Rego is a pig and behaves rather badly. But, you know, just brace yourself for next time. Do get some practice done before then, because I want you to be absolutely rock solid on your first declension nouns like mensa, your second declension nouns like annus, and also bellum, the neuter one, and puer and magister, which are masculine but behave in this slightly odd way. And then your adjectives, of course. Most adjectives that you've learnt so far go like bonus, bonna, bonum, nice and easy. and just some are going to be going like either tener or pulcher. Okay, so there's a lot going on, but hope to see you next time for the third conjugation, and stay safe until then.